Hello, welcome. I am Melissa L Watkins, evidential medium and integrative energy therapy master instructor teacher. So if you've clicked on this webinar, it's because you are ready to take control, of your own life. And survival mode can be a very heavy subject. And I didn't do it as clickbait at all. Those of us who have been through it, those of us who carry such heavy energy within us, on us energetically, right? We need that relief. Energy can't be destroyed, and so we have to do something with it. And so this webinar is all about giving you some keys and some support that you can take in the webinar, and then also an invitation to work with me one-on-one with integrated energy therapy. So I'm so glad you're here. And I know that if you're clicking on this webinar, you need support. And I'm so happy to be here to give it to you. So here we go. Let's get started. There we go. So survival mode and how you save you. We can only save ourselves. And so in this webinar, I'm going to give you definite things that you can take with you that will help you to start transforming that negative energy, that trauma, that pain, and help you to release it, because we have to release it. We have to let it go. We can do that through techniques and some things I'm going to share with you today. And so let's get started. I'm just so excited you're here. I really am. So please put your comments in the chat box. Please put your questions in the chat box. Even though this is not a live webinar, I will monitor and I will get back to you. And if it's something that you really have a question about, you can always go to my website, melissallwatkins.com, and put your question right in the chat, and I will answer you. All right, so today we're here to paint a new story. Today we're here to take a blank canvas and begin to paint that new story. And so we're going to talk about 10 ways that we're not okay. And we're going to have some empowering practices that you're going to take with you today. And then we're going to talk about receiving your best life and how IET can support that. And your healing is a journey. And so wherever you are that I'm meeting you on that journey, whether you're just starting it, whether you're in the thick of it, or whether you're coming maybe out of really having released some major trauma or pain, hurt, right? You're healing in some way. And whether that's addiction, abuse, anything that runs the gambit, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. But right now, I want you to close the door, put your earbuds in, grab yourself some coffee or some tea or some water or whatever it is that's your drink of choice whenever you're watching this. It could be morning, it could be noon, it could be night, right? So just take some time, some quiet time right now with me, please, for the next few minutes. Give yourself this space and this grace to take the time with me to be another step on your journey. And I'm very humbled to be any part of your journey, whether it's just this webinar or if we do end up working together one-on-one. All right, so to kind of get us in the right space, which is why I wanted you to like put your earbuds in or shut the door or be quiet in a quiet space, taking this time for yourself. Let's start with a meditation. Let's start with quieting our mind. Let's start with relaxing and releasing everything that maybe we've just encountered today, right? Just the stresses of today, not even thinking about all the stuff that's kind of buried down into the emotional body, right? Or buried down into the physical body, or buried down into the mental body, or the energetic body, right? All of them. All of them. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to place your hands on your heart and breathe deeply and release. And breathe deeply and release. And one more time, breathe deeply and release. And I'm going to ask you to just breathe normally and start to feel the relaxing come over the top of your head. And feel the relaxing drop away anything that's on your shoulders. Relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your shoulder blades. Relaxing your jaw. Softening the back of your tongue. Relaxing energy coming down over you. Relaxing your chest. Relaxing your arms, relaxing your hands, your fingers. Just relax. Relax your torso. Relax your belly. Relax your hips. Relax your buttocks. Just relax. Relax your legs. Relax your feet. And just be here in this present moment, focusing on my voice and just relaxing. And now imagine or visualize a beautiful waterfall of light coming down out of the heavens, down over the top of your head. Beautiful white crystalline light, bathing you in its warmth, feeling that beautiful energy of love coming down from the heavens. God consciousness, source, central sun, whatever you believe in. And feel it coming down over the top of your head, this beautiful crystalline white light, bathing you in love, the frequency of love. And feel it coming down through your heart, down all the way down through your body, down out the bottom of your feet and all the way down into Mother Earth, Gaia, and feel connection, feel grounded. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And feel your body settle and feel it relax. You might feel like it's getting heavy, and that's a good thing. You might feel the top of your head tingle. You might feel goosebumps. That's your higher self coming down and joining with you, being here in this moment, in this present moment with us right here, right now. Not focused on anything else, but connecting with your body, feeling all the different parts of your body relax. Feel where the tension has eased. Feel your body, how heavy your head is, how relaxed your toes are. Just be here right now in the present moment. All right, and I'm going to have you come back now. You can go ahead and Put your hands off your heart, put them down into your lap or wherever it's comfortable. You can open your eyes and come back. Take a nice deep breath and let it go and be here in this space right now. Doesn't that feel good? Doesn't that feel focused, energized? I always feel like when I come out of meditation, like everything just looks brighter, clearer, right? All right, let's get into this. Here we go. Survival mode is operating out of the fear of being hurt. It is born out of your instinct, your gut feeling as your barometer. It's your sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, right? You rely on it to help you navigate people and situations safely. Are you ready to heal out of that? Are you ready to heal out of that fight or flight, always raising up within you, always feeling anxious, always feeling like you're not okay, you're not safe, you're not stable? Life will give you whatever is most helpful for the evolution of your consciousness. Eckhart Tolle. Well, I'm here to tell you guys, life gave me what I was going to need for the evolution of my consciousness, and it was not an easy road, and it continues, right? It doesn't end, right? But I am at a different place now. I am at a different place now, and I want you to be in a different place. So if you put these practices that I'm going to give you in practice, you use them, right? You too will be at a different place. So, what was most helpful for my evolution? Yeah, I wish it was the easy stuff. How I had no idea this was my operating system most of my adult life. I did not know I was operating out of survival mode. I didn't know what survival mode was. I just knew that this is how I lived my life, right? How I always lived my life. I didn't know there was a different way. We don't know what we don't know. And I didn't know there was anything different. So my trauma brought me my connection. So my trauma brought me my connection to spirit, my ability to be an evidential medium, my ability to tap into intuition, my ability to channel, my ability to really work with my higher self to what I call living in alignment, right? But how did I get there? So let's start there, right? All right, guys, here we go. My inner child wounding. So from 0 to 5, was very, very, very instrumental. Dr. Bruce Lipton talks about the programming that we undergo in those formative years, that it's that programming that's running the show, right? Until we become aware of it. And for me, my programming was programmed by 2 narcissistic people. Very selfish, very self-involved. And I never want to demonize these type of people because narcissism definitely deals in shame in the very low frequencies. And I'm going to talk about what the frequencies are as we move on, but really, really low. Shame is, and you know, if you feel shame, it doesn't feel good. It feels worse than bad, right? And so for me, it was really being informed by these 2 very, very selfish people who didn't make me feel safe, didn't make me feel nurtured, didn't make me feel taken care of. So there was neglect, emotional neglect, not physical neglect, but the emotional neglect took a toll. It really did. Because I did have to figure out, well, I can't say not physical, because I did have to figure out how to take care of myself, like physically take care of myself, like make food, right? Get food. entertain myself. There was just a lot of ways in which I had to be responsible for myself at a very early age. And so that became the big piece of my programming. And I'm gonna explain that as we move on. But yeah, so at the age of 5, my mother actually remarried to a wonderful, wonderful man who was my stepfather. And the saving grace in my story, really, he really was. But yeah, so I had a sister, and when they got married, I had a stepsister, and so there were 3 of us, and then they had 2 more. So it was they had 3 more, but 2 more by the age of 10. So there was 5 of us by the time I was 10, and I started babysitting. And then from there on, I was a primary caregiver to my siblings, as my stepfather had to take a job that kept him out Monday through Friday. He was in a different part of the state. And so he was only home on the weekends, and it was just my mom. And she was physically present, but she wasn't present as far as really like emotionally connecting with us and taking care of us. 4 nights a week, I was the primary caregiver, and there's only 5 nights in a week. And then the 5th night, my dad would be home. So it made for a very lonely, very scary, very, fly by the seat of my pants situation, right? And so I learned very early on I had to take care of myself. Nobody else was going to save me. I had to save myself. And in this instance, it actually showed me how to save other people along the way, make sure that they had what they needed. And that also stunted my emotional growth because I missed out on social norms from 15 to 20. I didn't go to dances. I didn't interact socially with my peers as much as I would have wanted to. And I didn't even do that from 10 to 15 because in the summertime, we would be moving around the state. Like we would go camping. So it was a wonderful summer, right? We'd be camping all summer. But it was a situation again where I was alone. I was by myself. I was taking care of myself. And so it was very lonesome. It was very isolating. It was very scary because I was always having to make sure that I was safe and stable, that I had what I need. And if I didn't, I had to figure out how to get it. And so this became my programming, that I had to figure it out because there's nobody that's going to help me figure it out. There's going to be nobody I can rely on but myself. So it became very limiting. And so I did struggle with depression, clinical depression. I actually was on medication for a while in my 20s. I did have suicidal thoughts, and I was very lonely. But I wasn't able to reach out. I wasn't able to connect emotionally. And so that really stunted my my relationships, right? So how did that turn into connection? So from 0 to 12, 12 years old, I really developed my empathy, my empath nature of clairsentience, right? Knowing how to feel the vibe and then act accordingly. And that was huge. That was huge. I never want to demonize narcissists at all, because I know from my own experience that they're wonderful people in their own right. But this is a personality disorder, and it's a devastating one for the people around them. And so for me, I really, really had to rely on tapping into energy to make sure that if I needed to be out of the way, that I would be out of the way. And so, yeah, I at the age of 12, I had a horrible fight. I don't even remember what it was about, but I remember laying up in my bedroom, and I was doing that thing that some kids do where you the parent that's not there, right? You idealize or you idolize, right? And so I remember having like this, I was having this like huge drawn out fantasy that my biological father would swoop in and fix things for me, right? And out of nowhere, I heard very clearly in my mind that I had to forgive him because I needed the freedom of his energy. And I just remember at that age being like, that's not my thought. Like, I'm too young to know what forgiveness is. And so that was one of my very first like instances of really recognizing spirit coming through clairaudiently. And then at age 16, I had some, clairsentience, really, the feeling, right? In our solar plexus when something's wrong and spirit really needs you to know, and they like attack your gut, like get out of here, go in a different direction. Yeah, I had definitely had a couple of situations like that in my teenage years. But yeah, I had one in a situation where I thought a person might hurt me. And I just remember you got to get out of there. Yeah. And I know you have a story like that. I know it was a car accident, or it was, something where very clearly you were like, I gotta move. I gotta go. I can't be here, or this isn't right. This isn't working. This is, and so, yeah. Yeah. And then at age 22, in my 20s, like I was definitely hearing like people, calling my name out in a room where nobody else was. So I was definitely starting to develop. And then my mediumship at the age of 42, where I really started to share my gifts. But it was my trauma. It was my very early trauma of not feeling safe at all, and always kind of being in that awareness of, where is everybody and how is everybody feeling? Yeah. And this is what it did. This is what my trauma did. Unworthiness, that I didn't deserve, that I was not good enough, that I was not important. This really came through because of always having to kind of take care of myself. Nobody ever really stepping up for me and saying, hey, you're important, let me help you. For a very long time, that never happened, and especially very, very early on from that 0 to 5. So, yeah, that's been a tough one for me. And the powerlessness, you can't speak up, you can't self-advocate, you can't put yourself first. Because I was always shunted to the side or pushed to the side or made to help others or be there for others. I had one of the most devastating things say to me. And what was said to me was, you were such a good little girl because you were always so quiet. And I was like, do you not realize why I was quiet? Because I couldn't speak up. Nobody was going to listen. So we all have our trials. And I definitely self-sabotaged with addiction. For me, it was sugar, it was food. I was overweight all of my teenage years, into my 20s, my 30s, especially after I had my baby. And as you can see, the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the energetic abuse, really, I mean, that picture, I wish I didn't have that big coat on, because that was one of my heaviest weights. It really was. I actually ended up having weight loss surgery. So it's been a road. And yeah, I was unhappy. I was so unhappy. I was so exhausted. Carrying all of that trauma and all of that pain of not being able to be loved in the way that I deserved. So what is your story? Please. One word or a couple of words in the chat. What is your story? What is it that you're really ready to let go of? Because if nothing changes, right? Yeah. Is it abandonment? I definitely had abandonment issues with my biological father. He never once took responsibility for me. He didn't pay child support. If I wanted to see him, I had to go to the bar. My mother called him a sad soul, poor soul, and he really was. He's since crossed over. Addiction, for me, it was food, it was overeating, it was sugar, it was caffeine, and then abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse in relationship, sexual abuse, unfortunately, in that 0 to 5. So, that really did ramp up my unworthiness, my powerlessness. So for you, what would you put on your list? What would you put on your list? If you can't jot it down, maybe you could type it on your phone in the notes, right? Or you can put it in the chat box. What is your story? So we have emotional versus physical, right? The emotionals, you feel isolated, you have fear of survival, you don't feel worthy or deserving. And then the physical. When you have emotional trauma, it's all inside. All of that is inside. You're isolated, you have the fear, you don't feel good, right? That's all inside of you. Nobody sees that, right? If you have physical trauma, right? Like you have an illness or you have an accident where you break a leg, right? So different. People show up. They offer help. They want to support you. You have compassion, right? Because people can see what's wrong. When it's emotional, it's all inside. And that's where we really have to start being very much more aware of that. And I think that's why we've got a lot of more mental health advocacy and trauma advocacy that's going on now. But if you don't say anything, nobody knows what you're feeling. They don't know what you've been through. They don't know what you're holding on to. But it's that lens that's informing all of your decisions and informing all of the way that you react and the energy that you bring to a situation. And that is what could be keeping you from having what you want, from you being able to paint that picture that you want of your life, right? And it's time to do that. So one of the ways that I can support you with your trauma is through integrated energy therapy. And are you ready to heal the issues in your tissues? IET works with the 9 archangels. It's the high vibrational, beautiful energy that we're in. And it integrates back into support, the self-love, the worthiness, the empowerment to receive and manifest the life that you want. Not the one you have to have, not the one you have to settle for, but the one you desire, you truly, truly want. And so Jacqueline in Canada says, since my session and moving through the integration process, I have felt empowered, more inner strength, confidence, worthiness, knowing. I know I have more layers to heal, but my spirit feels lighter. I trust that I can take the leap and fly. IET is worth the investment. So I know that this is profound healing. I've been through the profound healing that it offers, and I have been so honored to facilitate profound healing in others. And that's what I want to bring to you. You are releasing the traumas and dramas that are holding you back. Energy cannot be destroyed. We have to change it. You want to be able to speak your truth. You want to be able to ask for what you want. You want to have a safe home and or relationship. You want to win at life, career, romantic relationship, whatever you desire. You want to feel like it's even possible. And so TM from Guam was beautiful to write me and say, I've had a few IET sessions and my life has begun to change phenomenally. The angelic energy is not only transforming from within, but my environment is also dramatically shifting into a new reality. My body is experiencing healing and my energy field is becoming more vibrant and protective. I'm so very thankful for Melissa sharing her gifts of healing so that others may experience the evolution of being. And she says across lifetimes. So this is a beautiful, profound modality that will change your life. It will bring you back into either who you were before, whatever you're holding on to, or who you came in this life to be. So we have an event, we have a trauma, or we have a cycle of trauma. And if we remember or we shut down, that emotional body doesn't just let the trauma go. What goes in stays in and churns and affects responses consciously or unconsciously. It starts to impact your life because it goes down there and then it starts to grow. It starts to churn and it doesn't feel good. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. And that's why many people get bitter, honestly. But it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to hold on to PTSD, panic attacks, anxiety, being easily upset or angry, extreme alertness, hypervigilance, not able to sleep, irritable, aggressive behavior, finding it hard to concentrate, being jumpy or easily startled, not comfortable in your own skin, not feeling safe and stable. And the mental health component, the anxiety, the addiction, the depression, the self-harm, and all of the other pieces to that, right? And the patterns, the repeating patterns of choices, relationship types, self-sabotage. And this is where we have to start becoming like, are we ready to let that go? Are we ready to get out of this pattern of addiction or abuse or whatever your pattern is? Maybe your pattern is just making promises you don't keep, or saying no when you'd like to say yes, but it's too anxiety driven, right? This is what I want to help you let go of. The cycle and the patterning and the churning. Because when you're disempowered, you're people pleasing. You're doing everything for everyone else to keep yourself safe and stable. You're not using your voice. You're never saying no because that's too scary. That might trigger someone. That might have someone come at you. You're listening to your ego, all the fear, your reptilian brain telling you all the negative things. You're not standing up for what you believe in because, again, you're afraid maybe that goes against the norm or that somebody's not going to be okay with it. So it's just easier to stand back. You're not putting yourself or your needs on the list. Nope. Your time, your focus is on everyone but yourself. And the family and the societal expectations have way more importance in your life. Because if you're adhering to the expectations of others, family or society, nobody's going to look at you differently. No one's going to be asking you what you're doing. No one's going to be coming at you. And so this is all very disempowering you because you can't live authentically. You can't live who you truly are, who you truly came to be in this lifetime. So, 10 ways you're not okay. The emotional survival mode. I had no idea what it was. I had no idea. But you're always playing catch up. You're always struggling. You're struggling with daily tasks, and you're struggling with expectations. You're struggling with doing things on time, like getting married, having a family, getting the promotion. Anything that people think you should do at a certain point in your life, right? It's like you're always playing catch up because you're not hitting those milestones that other people put in play, right? Because you're too heavy. You're too weighed down. You're too out there doing everything for everyone else. You're not able to keep deadlines or make appointments on time or get things done when you needed for yourself, right? You're nervous. You're anxious. You're hyper aware. Your sympathetic nervous system spikes, and that feels normal. One of the things that was so shocking to me when I recognized it was I was addicted to pain. I was addicted to that cortisol spike, right? And if I didn't get it, I was like, something's wrong. It was so backwards. It was so backwards. I didn't feel comfortable unless I was afraid. If that's not backwards, I don't know what is. And if you're there, we can change that. It doesn't have to remain. Forecasting. You're anticipating everyone's needs and fulfilling them. Not only are you anticipating them, but you're fulfilling them. Do you know how much time and energy that takes away from you? That's why you can't paint your new picture. That's why you can't get anything on that clean canvas. You don't have the energy. We only have so much time in a day. You're exhausted. You're depressed. Sad as a continuous state or cycle. Because you're always projecting, going, transferring, giving, doing, being for everybody around you. Or what is weighing on you? You can't get out of your own way. Addictions. Food, drugs, sex, money. All of it. Anything that you're doing that's excessive or needed on a regular basis, an addiction. Could be social media, could be porn, right? Self-sabotage. Trying something you do not have skills or talents for. Willing something or someone to be or do what you want. Self-harm, thoughts and actions. Yeah, anything that you're doing that's hurting yourself is self-sabotage. And some of that is very unconscious. You say that you're going to do something to the same person all the time and you never do it. It's not because you don't want to, but it's because you don't have enough gas in the tank. We're telling people what they want to hear because you're afraid of if you say what you really mean, it's not going to be okay. Isolation. Feeling isolated and alone. Creating ways to keep others at bay or away. You're creating isolation. You feel it, but you're also creating it because you don't want anybody to know what's really going on inside. You don't really want to know anybody to know you enough to know how you're doing all the other things, right? The self-sabotage, the addiction, the people pleasing, and all of the rest, right? I'll just stay over here and hurt because I don't want anybody to know just how much pain I'm in. Finances. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. Financially unstable. Unable to keep a job, or you always have a negative account. And it doesn't matter how much money you make. If money is one of your addictions, or if money is one of the ways you make yourself feel better, it doesn't matter how much you have because you're always putting yourself in that negative deficit. Could be through overindulgence, eating, drinking, drugging, relationships, spending. Take anything too far. Whatever it is. Having any old thing to feel better. Not having expectation of respect or having self-respect. Yeah, respect is a big one. Respect is a big one. Because you're not respecting yourself, you're not being respectable, and so people aren't respecting you. It's kind of a cycle. So how do we paint the new picture? All right? How do we paint the new picture? Eckhart Tolle says, realize deeply that the present moment is all you have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. Which is why we started with the meditation that we started with today, so you could feel the present moment. This is so important because what this does is when you pull your attention into the now, you can focus on what's right in front of you. If you're not being bombarded by what's behind you, and you're not being bombarded about what is coming, and you stay right here in this moment, it's relief. It's relief. And it also allows you to see your thoughts and how out of control they can be. And when you can start to become aware of how out of control they are, you can actually start bringing them back into control. I use a simple trick, totally simple. When I have something that is starting to like do that hamster wheel thing, and it's not positive, it's going to bring down my vibration, right? I just be like, I'm not thinking that right now. I'm not thinking that right now. It's not serving me. Especially if it's a worry, right? Worry is the biggest energy stealer out there. So one of the things I'm going to challenge you to do is start becoming aware of your thoughts. And when you have thoughts coming in that are not serving you, that do not help you, they're either worry or they're projection. Can't do anything about it right now. I'm not thinking about it. It doesn't mean I won't think about it when I have something I can do about it. But right now, I can't do anything about it. If I have a bill, but I don't have the money to pay for it, then I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to pay it when I have the money, or I'm going to make the phone call to say I need to move the payment. But once I do everything I can do, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to move on to the next thing. That's how that works. Sorry about that. So that is the first step that you can start to use that will help you. It sounds easy. It's not. But it can make the biggest difference. So are you ready to operate from the space of empowerment? Are you ready to speak your truth? Are you ready to use your voice? Are you ready to say no as a complete sentence? You don't have to say why. Doesn't matter. Can you speak from your heart and not your ego? Your ego is fear, remember? Ego is that reptilian brain, that fight or flight, that keep you safe, that old programming, right? Because the old programming is what that egoic mind is used to. So that's why it's always trying to take you back into that old pattern, that old thought, that old feeling. Remember, thoughts create feelings. So if you keep letting your ego take you back into the old thought, the old feeling, you're never going to be able to move forward or heal. So that's why your awareness of how you think is so important. And if you really have a hard time or not understanding, like not sure how to speak from your heart, literally put your hands on your heart. Put your hands on your heart when you go to speak. And it will drop your awareness down into your heart. And then when you start feeling that shift, you'll be able to do it without the physical. Are you ready to stand up for what you believe in? Putting yourself and your needs on the list. And the big one is setting boundaries. Time, focus, everyone but yourself. Boundaries on expectation, your family, society, boundaries. If it's not what you want to do, you say no. If it's not what you want to allow, because it's not respectful or it's not what you want, then you simply say no. You simply say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to be around that person. And again, you don't have to say no. Or you don't have to say why. This is how you become empowered. And I know for many of you who are holding on to a lot, this will feel uncomfortable when you start to do it, as you start to heal. But it's very important that you take a deep breath and do it anyway, right? Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is the walking despite the fear. Keep going despite the fear. One step at a time. You only have to bring one thing on this healing journey. That's it. One thing. What you believe is what makes the difference. Absolutely. Dolores Cannon, The Convoluted Universe, Book 3, talking about energy healing. All you have to do is bring belief. So when you come to an IET session, all I ask you to bring is belief. That's it. And those of you who are skeptical about distance sessions, because 90% of my business is remote, she says the ability of the healer to expand their aura, to reach out and touch the other individual, allows a hookup over what seems to be time and space. The healing I've been doing is profound. And this is what we're looking to do, looking to help you do, to raise your vibrational frequency, because it's time. It's time for you to get out of the grief and the fear, the anger, the desire, the apathy, the guilt, and get up into love and joy and peace. Raising your vibrational frequency, getting out of suffering and getting into flow. That's how we manifest. That's how we manifest. So when I talk about raising your frequency, this is what I'm talking about right here. To manifest what you want. The money, the love, the opportunity, family, connection to your higher power. I actually put the food of refrigerator full of food on this, because for so long, that was the one thing that would be last, right? You got to buy the gas, you got to pay the rent. but there was like enough to feed us, but my refrigerator was never overflowing. It was always just enough. And so for me, manifesting a refrigerator full of food is like soul manna. It just fills up my cup. So what is that for you? What would manifesting your desire do for you? Because as you heal and you raise your frequency up that chart, one of the beautiful byproducts of your healing, whether you recognize it or not, there's two things that are going to start happening, whether you're ready or not. One is that connection to spirit, right? The clairsentient, the clairaudience, claircognizance, the clairvoyance. And the other one is manifesting. That's why this is such profound healing. So what do you desire? What do you desire? What is it that you want? What are you ready for? Don't play small here. And don't tuck away that thing that you really, really want because you've got it in this bubble of safety back here where nobody knows it's there. Pull it out. Pull it out. Let spirit know this is what you want. By setting that intention, they can bring it to you. You want love? Are you ready for your most compatible soulmate? Are you ready to make the money that you really need to make or want to make? Or get the promotion or the career? Maybe the picture that you really want to paint is a whole different career. Respect, safety, to be clean and sober, to be deserving. Are you ready? Are you ready? You're ready. So integrated energy therapy works with the violet angelic energy ray as brought through the 9 healing angels of the energy field. They work directly with your 12-strand spiritual DNA to clear your blocks that limit your health, your life purpose, your prosperity, and your creativity. Empower you to experience loving relationships in all areas of your life. Provide support for physical, sexual abuse, addiction, and suppressed trauma. One of the traumas I suppressed, I didn't even know I was suppressing, was resentment. Huge, huge. And that's what I love about IET, is we can set an intention, but the angels are still going to go in there and even support where you need support, where you don't even recognize you need support. And one of the things about IET, it supports your self-healing at all levels. It also supports your healing outside of energy healing. So if you're in talk therapy, if you're in, working with a doctor, if you're working with another energy healer, it supports it. So this can be in addition to, this can be supporting, this can be on its own. Wherever you are on your journey, IET will meet you. At the beginning, in the middle, or further down. I'm not going to say the end. So, Jessica writes, I have improved my life through IET, both taking classes and receiving services, created better habits to love myself and heal myself. Taking these steps to work with Melissa has put me back on my path I had fallen off of so long ago. I'm not lost. I'm not alone. I'm sober. I'm healing myself and others now. And Jessica is an advanced level practitioner. I'm very proud of all of the ladies who have taken certification with me. And Jacqueline from Canada. Since my sessions and moving through the integration process, I have empowered more inner strength, confidence, worthiness, knowing. I know I have more layers to heal, but my spirit feels lighter. I trust that I can take the leap and fly. IET is worth the investment. I'm actually going to be in Canada with a group of beautiful women who are going to be certified IET practitioners. So I, as a master instructor, you will have a master instructor session with me. So in addition to the clearing of your cellular memory and your human energy field, which is what IET does, we're going to be bringing your soul's mission alive in your life. And the master instructor level focuses on optimizing your 12-strand DNA, which can further enhance your wellness at all levels and increase the spiritual synchronicities, there it is, that open the doorways to your destiny. So yes, one of the beautiful benefits, bonuses, is that you raise your frequency and you can start getting into connection with spirit. Are you ready for the transformation? Once you begin to change the energy around you, patterns, behaviors, and feelings, then you will be able to attract what it is you do want. You can start painting that picture on your canvas. Having happiness through grace and ease, not having to strive and drive for every small token. By healing and raising your vibrational frequency, you will begin to draw to you the life you desire. Change your thoughts, change your life. Change your emotions, change your relationships. Change your frequency, change everything. Are you ready? Are you ready? So choose your package to jumpstart painting your new picture today. Thank you for being here with me. I'm going to really look forward to working with you. And if it's not now, I'll be ready when you are ready. I know that I'm going to work with those of you who are ready when you're ready. My intention since I've started this journey is who needs me finds me. And I'll be here when you're ready. And if that's today, I can't wait. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And we'll talk soon. Head over to melissallwatkins.com for more information or to book your session and grab your package. Thank you.